Episode of Weber State Weekly. I'm your host, Colby Peterson. With me today on the show, we've got John King visiting us from the East Coast. John, what's up, man?
Hey, Colby, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, always good to have John King on the show. And we're going to be talking with Amir Jackson, member of the Weber State Alumni Association board, talking about his idea for a campaign that's going to be happening this next week, Make Ogden Purple. So, Amir Jackson, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to chat with us here on Weber State Weekly.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, we're really excited. Excited to hear about this. We know it's been in the works for a while, and so to finally be here on the eve of homecoming week, about a week from now, we'll be getting ready to tailgate, sitting at Stewart Stadium, and hoping for good things against the Bobcats. Because man, do we need that dub? But Amir, let's start with you, man. I mean, you are a person who is a transplant to Ogden. Done a lot of things in the community, and then you came to be upon the Weber State board. I mean, did some classes at Weber State. Talk to us a little bit about your Weber State journey and how you came to be on the Alumni Association board.
Yeah, so basically, I came to Utah via the United States Air Force. So I was in the military for about 4 years. After leaving the military, I had a choice. You know, either go back home to New York or stay in Utah and figure out school here. So I chose Weber State to go to school. I went to school for psychology and education, and then I just kind of entrenched myself in the community. The community was really embracing of some of the things that I wanted to do, and so Utah became my second home. Ogden became a place that kind of like a platform in which the rest of my life would be built upon. And and I became a Weber State advocate and ambassador and champion based off of my experience while attending Weber State. It was a very, very embracing school. It was mentors plenty, advisors plenty, opportunities plenty, as long as you were willing to plug yourself in. So yeah, man, Weber State is something. I've been able to do a lot of things in my life in a short period of time, and a lot of that I owe to Weber State. So I'm always looking for ways to give back to individuals or entities that have helped me along the way. And being a part of the Alumni Association was one of those ways that I could do that.
Yeah, man. Which, by the way, really cool jersey you got on today. I think I got to find myself one of those. That's dope, man.
Yeah, it is. Thank you very much. I don't think they have these anymore, but if you can find one, you definitely should get one.
Yeah, that's money. I mean, I'm always a guy who's longing for a little bit of Weber State baseball to come back. So, hey, this is the first step.
Word, man. Yo, I got a Damian Lillard jersey just yesterday.
Oh,
So I don't know if you have one of those, but you have to. They have like the retro ones when he was actually playing at Weber State.
Yeah, I love those. You got the black one with the purple trim.
You got to have the black one, bro.
Oh, dude, it's money. I do want one of the purple ones though. Those are so money. But anyway, so like you said, Amir came here because of the United States Air Force, got involved in the community. And you've been a person who's been super involved in the community, you know, starting some nonprofits and just being on boards locally, just a person who's very, very plugged in, wanted to do something for the community, especially around Weber State because you had such a good experience there. Talk to us a little bit about where Make Ogden Purple came from, though, the genesis of this idea, and kind of take us through the journey that you've gone through to get us now to the point where we're ready. We got a big event tomorrow night happening.
Yeah, so Make Ogden Purple, the vision of that came about when I was actually still attending Weber State. So, which was many, many years ago. We're talking about 10, maybe 12 years ago. But Weber State is a part of the Ogden community, but there's a disconnect at the same time, right? It's literally within the city of Ogden. That being said, there is, culturally speaking, there is not necessarily a symbiotic relationship between Weber State and the Ogden community. And no one's been able to really figure out why that is. Weber State has been a staple within the community for many, many, many years, decades, right? And somehow there is some inherent disconnect between the culture at Weber State and the Ogden culture. And so, the question started then. And, after some years of being, no longer attending Weber State, but being in the community, there were some things that kind of came up that I realized, like Weber State doesn't do a lot of things within the community, right? Like they do a lot of things on campus, but not necessarily in the community. And so there was just things that I started to pick up on that I felt were answers to questions that I had. And so then I came up with this this vision that offered a solution for those questions.
Yeah. And so, like you said, thinking about ways that the community can get involved. And so Make Ogden Purple became kind of the idea. I was going to say, Amir, I remember when the Wildcats played JMU in the quarterfinals of 2017, I remember you created a graphic that kind of floated around Facebook, and it was very simple, just the Wildcat logo, the Tom and Jerry logo, if you're familiar with the current Wildcat logo. And then, and it just said, Make Ogden Purple. That's all it said down at the bottom. And I had that on my avatar for a while. I mean, a lot of other people had it on there for a while. And so was this kind of like the beginning of where you thought Make Ogden Purple could be a thing, you know, bigger than just what was going on the campus?
You know, that's a great question. You know what, Kobe? I forgot about that whole thing.
It happened and you did it.
You brought it up, but yes. So that was a part of it. You know, when I pushed that post, it was actually kind of I was actually reprimanding the community in a way, right? Like it was a sincere problem to me that we had a nationally ranked team, and if you went into the bars weren't playing the game. You know, no one was really talking about it heavy on social media, and you know, we have people locally within our community that would share all types of you know, videos and memes, et cetera, about universities that are not within the city limits. But here are our university, you know, is nationally ranked, and yet you can't find that being permeated through the culture. So it was really, when I pushed that out, it might have come across positive, and I'm glad that it did. But I actually the intent was like, what's wrong with you all? You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with us? It was I was hoping to offer some self-reflective, you know, a self-reflective moment for the community. I really thought that was a big problem. I mean, we have Damian Lillard, who graduated from Weber State. He's one of the best point guards in the NBA. There's no doubt or debating that. And yet, when he played at Weber State, the stadiums weren't full. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, we have to do better when it comes to supporting our college community, and we have to do better when it comes to like building that college community. And so, yeah, man, maybe that's when it started. But little by little, I've been on this thought process of what do we have to do? Like, you know, because anybody can talk about the issues or the problems of any, you know, particular situation. I wanted to focus on what is the solution, and so Make Ogden Purple really was a solution to a problem for me.
John King, question for Amir Jackson.
Yeah, so with that being said, you know, that was one thing. You know, I was also an Ogden transplant for a little while, Amir, and you know, coming from the East Coast, you know, a lot of proud universities on the East Coast, and that was always something that really surprised me when I was at Weber State, is that, you know, the ties to University of Utah, the ties to BYU and the state of Utah, where they run so deep. That, you know, it would always surprise me. I'd be like, wait, why are all these, you know, red hoodies walking around campus? Or why are all these navy hoodies, or, you know, whatever blue BYU is this week? Why are all these, you know, why is that what people are wearing around campus? So what do you think, like, is the number one thing that, you know, Weber State would need to, you know, need to do to kind of help separate themselves kind of from the mold, and, you know, kind of establish more of that identity, you know, within the state of Utah?
Yeah, I think that that's a great question. So my thought process is that culture is a grass up type of model. It's not a top down, right? If typically speaking, when a culture is established, it's established through the people at the grassroots level, and then, you know, it kind of permeates through the other levels, businesses, and then institutions. I'll give you an example that you'll connect with, John. It like the Bills Mafia, right? That is a culture. but that did not that was not established through the Bills organization. That was established through knuckleheads and tailgaters who wanted to have a good time during a Sunday or Monday football game. And then it was embraced by the bars and the restaurants and the convenience stores and everybody else, right? Because this is a way we can make money now. There's this culture that we can tap into to make money. And then the institution, the Bills organization, actually adopted it to where you can buy, on any website where you can find apparel, you can buy a Bills Mafia, T-shirt. So I think that what really needs to happen is Weber State needs to kind of step back, right, and support what other people are trying to do, right? Like, so instead of taking a lead in establishing that culture, find individuals in the community that want to establish that culture. For example, Kobe and yourself, and then support their initiatives so that they can do it in a more effective, a better, a more excellent manner and way. That's my thought process. I think that it's not going to be established by Weber State. It's going to be established by the individuals who support Weber State, students, alumni, and to be honest with you, even beyond that, people who are just within the Ogden city limits, who maybe not necessarily are attended Weber State or have a connection that way, but like football, right? Or like basketball or like baseball. Like they just need to connect to the individuals and meet them where they're at rather than trying to get them to meet them at this institutional level. That's my thought process.
No, Amir, I think that your thought process is a good one, especially in the past, tried establishing, watch parties around campus. It's often a little bit difficult because of the ease of access to Wildcat athletics. So for years, Wildcats you could find them on Pluto TV, and many of the bars and restaurants in the city didn't really have smart TVs. And so there were times where we would bring in our own Amazon Fire Stick and plug it into their TV and get on their internet just so we could watch the game. Because we were that dedicated to, trying to do something and get together. But it was always a challenge. And at times, sometimes we would come back to business owners and restaurant owners and say, hey, we want to do a watch party. And sometimes they just say, no, other events are going on at that time, and it's just not something we want to dedicate to. And so I think you're right, Amir, where it's really about a culture, because if there are a group of people and they know that, hey, a big thing that we've been pushing here at Weber State Weekly is #DubState. If the Dub State people are going to show up, then I'm fine giving them, a few tables over my bar and putting the game on over there, because Absolutely. I know they're going to show up, and I know they're going to order food and drinks, and I know that it's going to be profitable for me, and I don't feel like I'm taking a risk. And so we've been working here at Weber State Weekly to kind of establish that culture. Things like, trying to get people out to tailgate and showing up to events. We went to the volleyball match last night, and man, I'm telling you, if you didn't go to that match last night, you missed out, because that was dynamite. The Wildcats dominated a conference rival, and it was just an electric atmosphere. But I think you're right, Amir. It takes some community culture has to be established. The university can't do it all. The alumni have to show up and do something for them.
I agree 100%. Think about it, and to your point, Kobe, think about it on this to this level. If you are an owner of a bar or a restaurant, even a sports bar in the city of Boston, right? And you are a Chicago White Sox fan, who do you put on the TV if you want to make money? You put the Boston Red Sox on it doesn't matter what you want, does not matter. You appeal to your customer base. And so if businesses will do, in my opinion, my thought process, if it looks like there's this one business that is showing the football game or the Weber State basketball game or the softball game or whatever game, and that business is getting 200% more profit on the nights that they do that, all of a sudden other businesses will follow suit. The reality is that it's not, like, once again, it's not a top-down model. It's a grassroots up model. If we can get and what I would imagine is that Weber State, people who have the energy, the ideas, the connections, that want and the desire, right, to create this culture, Weber State would want to support those individuals. And here's another reason why. Those individuals are without the shackles of bureaucracy, right? Like, you don't have to actually ask for permission, right? You don't have to think about whether or not you should have it at a place that serves beer or not, right? Like, you don't have to ask those questions or even answer those questions if you're not affiliated with the university directly. But you have, so basically there's more possibilities, there's more freedom, there's more options if you're just a member in the community. If it's Weber State, you have to go through the communications department. You have to go through the, a lot of people who have their own set of standards, right? And the purple has to look a certain way. Those types of things, where if it's given to the community and then supported by Weber State and the city of Ogden, I think that there's more possibilities that come out of that. Possibilities that we aren't even aware of yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that the way that I see it is that this Make Ogden Purple initiative is a foundation in which the future is going to be built. And I have no clue what that future looks like. I just want there to be a foundation there so that something can be built upon it.
And I think that's a really important point. And like, Amir, you used the Bills Mafia, example a little bit earlier. And like, you're right. Like, the Bills Mafia brand was basically a brand that was, created by people jumping through tables at tailgates. And, that's not exactly like the most like put together message that's ever been put out there. But like something, like that, you're right. I mean, that was started by people who were outside of the Bills organization. You don't have to deal with, that level of bureaucracy kind of that you're talking about. And then, while that, I'm not condoning people just, hey, go buy a bunch of lifetime tables and start jumping through them. Like, I'm not, please don't go out and do that. But something as, as crazy or as dumb as that has spurred on this like huge movement that is like, now it's a countrywide thing. I mean, now people refer to Bills fans as Bills Mafia, and that's on ESPN or what national media broadcasts or all that kind of stuff. And even things that are just like something that you may normally see as something that's trivial or juvenile. Those things can be the things that actually, get your fan base to a level that it hasn't been seen before. And so, I do think that your Bills point is a really, really interesting one, because when you look at the state of New York, which is one of the bigger states in the union, I mean, the Bills have their like regional audience, but for the most part, that state it's a giant state and it's a Jet state. And so, I think that's a really interesting point that you bring up about this whole, initiative. I think that was really good.
Yeah, thank you. They're even christening babies now with the table smash.
For sure.
Right? They're taking babies and making a fake table and smashing it. It's a legitimate culture, right? Like, this is something that permeates throughout that, like you said, that region. And I believe 100%. I believe Weber State can get there. I think that there's a lot of pride within Ogden. Ogden loves Ogden. People that live in Ogden love Ogden. We just have to get that symbiotic relationship to connect Weber State and Ogden, because then if you love Ogden, you love Weber State. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not a separate thing. Like, if you live in Ogden, you appreciate the mountains, even if you don't ski or snowboard, right? Like, you're connected to the mountains. It's not a choice that you have. Living in Ogden, you're connected to the mountains. Living in Ogden should be a connection to Weber State. It should be 100% symbiotic. And I believe that we can get there. It just has that there's little things that we have to do and continue to do, and then build upon that. And then eventually, we will get there. This culture is not going to be established in a year or two. It's going to take some time, but I believe 100% that it is, 10 years, five years from now, There will be purple all over the place, especially during homecoming week. There will be a purple float during Pioneer Day, a purple float during the Christmas Village deal. Either way, there will be, and businesses will understand and connect to the fact that if you want to be, one of the ways to be successful in Ogden is to be connected to Weber State, right? Like that's something that I would love to see also, or I would love to see also, is that businesses believe that not in order to, but one of the key factors in order to be successful is to be connected to Weber State and the individuals who are connected to that college. I think that there's a strong possibility of that happening. It takes action though, right? Like it doesn't take. We can talk about ideas for years and years and years. It takes action on those ideas. And I think that this Make Ogden Purple initiative, we've seen activation in ways that we haven't seen it in the past. And I would love to talk about some of those activations. It's kind of a cool deal.
Yeah, Amir. So we promised you 15 minutes. We're a little bit over that right now. So talk to us a little bit about Make Ogden Purple and how people can get involved. Of course, like we said at the top, homecoming week is upon us. There's an event coming up here on Saturday where I think registration is already closed, but you can still show up. You can bring your dog out and do the stuff. You could just bring your dog out. There's sort of like this paw parade that I think is what you guys call it. But talk to us a little bit about some of the things that are going, or some of the ideas that you've had for Make Ogden Purple, and how people can get involved during homecoming week, this coming week, leading up to Friday night, where the game will be against Montana State at 8 p.m. at Stewart Stadium on ESPNU.
Okay, so some of the things that we're doing, we kind of approached it from three different levels: a grassroots level, a business level, and an institutional level. So at the grassroots level, there are some activities that every individual in the community can participate in. That's wearing purple, throughout the week, putting up a purple flag. The Weber State downtown actually has 250 flags for community members to come and get for free. So you can go to Weber State downtown and get your own purple flag and put that in your window or on your post. There's going to be a hike to Malin's Peak on Tuesday. They're going to put a Make Ogden Purple flag at the peak. There's going to be a purple paw parade. It was going to be tomorrow, but we're postponing it until next Saturday because of weather. But that'll be the same day as homecoming. It'll be a 3/4 mile dog walk. And there'll be like some food and activities, et cetera, et cetera. Each dog will get a collapsible dog bowl, a purple dog bowl, and a grab bag that also has bandanas, a purple bandana, Weber State bandana. And at the business level, you can go to your coffee shops, Daily Rise, Grounds for Coffee, Cafe Merc, and Wasatch Roasting Company, and get yourself a coffee, and they will give you a purple sleeve with that coffee. Roosters is also doing a purple beer, a Wildcat beer. That'll be next week. And then there's other things also. There's going to be a fun run with the Ogden Pub Runners, and they'll be wearing purple in their 3.5 mile run. There'll be flags at the beginning and at the end of that run as well. So there's a lot of ways that you can activate yourself by joining others, but also just do your own individual thing, man. Like, it takes really nothing for a person to put on a purple shirt. It doesn't have to be a Weber State shirt. We would love it if it was, but it can be just a purple shirt, and wear that to work during the homecoming week. And just these little, we want a visual representation of purple throughout the city. So get in where you fit in, basically.
Yeah, Amir, really good points there. We sit here on Weber Wear Friday, a thing that we've been promoting for a long time. So a good time to talk about wearing purple. Some people have proposed Wildcat Wednesdays, wearing purple on Wednesdays as well. So all of homecoming week, opportunities to wear purple. There will be a custom homecoming shirt if you want to get your hands on those. If you didn't know, they make one every single year. And so I've been collecting them since 2017. Lucky to get one this year. So check those out. But great points, Amir. All kinds of ways to get involved throughout the community, whether that's with the pub runners, your local coffee shop. Nice to hear that Roosters is finally doing a Weber State brew. They have one up in Bozeman, Montana. They have like a custom Bobcats brew up there. And so I wondered how long it would take before such an idea cropped up to one of the local breweries here in Ogden, where maybe there was a Wildcat beer that they would put out there. So lots of good things happening around homecoming. Any parting thoughts, Amir, before we wrap up this one?
No, just thank you very much for inviting me, man. It was a good conversation. I appreciate the platform.
Yeah.
And also, I would like to say, I should mention people like yourself and your team that have been doing this kind of work for years, man. So thank you for doing the work that you've been doing. And this is really just an initiative to support the work that individuals like yourself have been doing for many years. So thank you for the things that you've been doing.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Want to thank Amir Jackson for taking a little bit of time to chat with us here on Weber State Weekly about his role on the board of the Alumni Association and kind of the genesis of the Make Ogden Purple campaign, which it sounds like Make Ogden Purple is not going to end next weekend, folks. It's a thing that we'll be working on continually to build the culture of Weber State and Ogden City. And so if you're having a watch party, if you're going out there, make sure to check out, put that stuff out online, use hashtag Dubstate, hashtag We Are Weber, or just hashtag Weber State, so other Wildcat fans can find that and get involved in maybe some of the things that you're doing. And of course, if you're a tailgating person, there'll be a tailgate tomorrow on Friday night next week, right before the Bozeman, the game against Montana State coming down from Bozeman. That will be the homecoming game, and it will be a big one, folks, because the Wildcats are now teetering on the edge of maybe not making the playoffs for the first time since 2016. So an important win. Wildcats will need as many people there as they possibly can to make the stadium loud and make the Bobcats uncomfortable for a critical game. So, Amir Jackson, appreciate you and your time, and we'll end this one like we usually do, John King. I'll say Weber State, Weber State.
Great.
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 Go Wildcats.